Ooh, it is already the end of the month. I think February is like the shortest month of the year, and I told you at the beginning of the month this is only gonna be 30 days, so I'm gonna go over everything I've learned, like disliked from this whole 30 days of Rush project, and all my notes are in the little handy dandy notebook. We have the little, what should we call you? Co-host. We have a little co-host Amelia, and let's get started, right? It did take a few days to learn the UI of this Adobe Rush thing. It is really incredibly simple. It took me about 2 or 3 days to find and learn the lay of the land of how the app works, how to add things like delete, stuff like that. That's just with anything. The learning curve was really short compared to other things. And honestly, I actually prefer this way of adding and dropping things in to this compared to the iMovie one, where the iMovie is just like, and it was just confusing compared to the way this Adobe one is. So check for Adobe and nothing for iMovie. When I was uploading more than like 20 videos that are longer than 30 seconds a piece that were shot in 4K, the app itself couldn't handle it while it was uploading, so it would often crash. The simple thing I found to fix it is just like shoot less videos or do things in different takes, where it's like there's 20 videos that are in 4K, upload 5, and then another 5, and then another 5, and then the last 5. Or like I said, with the shorter takes, just do everything in like one giant take, and that seemed to remedy the problem. It's just, again, I don't know if it's the app that's doing it or if it's just really too much for the app to handle the 4K footage. One of the mistakes I did learn though, what was really bad, don't delete the videos and photos on your phone until the actual video is exported. There was a few times where I would like delete the videos and stuff and think I was good, and then I was trying to like export the video, where the export video was just, sorry, corrupt file, we can't find it. Did shit my pants. I didn't actually permanently delete it, so it was just a quick fix of like recovering the deleted files, and then just it worked just fine. But in Final Cut Pro, you can delete the videos after you put them in the timeline on the top left. It's hard to explain like this, but there's the timeline for Final Cut Pro, and then there's a little reservoir where you have all the clips. You could delete them off the reservoir, and then it won't affect the timeline. But this one, it's like if you do that, you lose everything. So it's good to know. Again, it's one of those things that's like you only learn this by actually doing it. I don't know if they would have it in the patch notes or how you would even like write that into the software or into like the features, like don't do this, this, and this, because then this will happen. Because it's just like, it just doesn't really make sense, you know? Another weird quirk, I did all of this on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and it does the 4K HDR video footage. I did shoot a lot of the videos at the beginning like that, and I would edit it in the app and stuff. But one of the things I noticed was when I was shooting in the 4K HDR, while color grading, I would get out after I color graded it and either close the app and then work on it later, or right after I finish color grading, I start moving, eliciting, and like doing the stuff through the timeline. The colors changes on me would just be like drastic. There was one where, I guess hindsight is 2020, but I probably should have recorded it and then like put the clip on it. But there was some scenes where I would just color grade it fine, looked great, and then I would hit play. I would turn purple, or I would turn like crazy The Thing orange, and it was just, there was no way for me to like get rid of it. I thought I just completely drastically just jacked up my color tones and stuff. I hit the little refresh and like backwards button, didn't seem to like fix anything to remedy it. So what you had to do was actually close the app itself and then open it back up. It would fix itself, but it was just like, it was just a random thing to happen, you know? It hasn't happened ever since I turned the 4K HDR off. It's still 4K, but just like the HDR part and like the, is it 8-bit or 10-bit, whatever the color gamut thing that Apple says this thing can do. It was just random quirk, but also with that quirk, the audio sync would be off. So I would be talking and then the sound would just be like a 2-second lag. Again, it would fix it. You would have to like completely close the app itself and just start all over it. Just a weird thing that happened, and then it just went away after I deleted everything. But along with that weird quirk, another one that happened when the whole thing I just said, but while exporting, sometimes it would say there was not enough storage on my device. I'm shooting with I have a 128 gig phone on this. I have about 40-ish gigs available right now, so there's no reason why it would pop that up. And the videos I'm doing are no more than like maybe 5 gigs max. And it was just weird that it would happen. I looked online at some of like the Adobe forums, and it was just this is a known problem that they have. The only way to actually fix it is by getting rid of like the best export settings, where it'd be like the 4K 30 FPS, and then export it in 1080 30 or 1080 60. Just one of those would work. I did do it to that. It's not really a big thing. I shot in 4K. I would like to export in 4K because I've read YouTube prioritizes 4K videos more than they do 1080 videos. So it was just, it's really no big thing. I mean, this isn't client work or like drastic things that I really need in 4K. It's just like 1080 is more than enough. Just another weird thing that's like a quirk with the app that has this random bug that can maybe be fixed for future updates and stuff like that. Or maybe it's just a phone. I don't know. I don't know if you guys know what auto duck or audio ducking is. It's just, if you add music to a clip, you click the little audio ducking and it brings the music in at a slow rate, and then it brings it up max, and then it slowly fades out at the end. There's an option where you can turn it on and off and have more leeway of like when you want it to start, finish, how high you want the volume to be. And it's a great option. It gives your videos just a more cinematic, more like well-produced look. And it was just, when I would upload music and then try to do the audio ducking, it just sometimes disappeared. Sometimes it would just be like when I'm putting music on that has lyrics on it, or it would also work when, or it also wouldn't work when I'm adding music that's just instrumentals. And it's just, I can't find an actual consistent thing of why it happens. And then again, I looked on the online forums. It's like, this is a known issue. We actually don't know. We'll get to it when we get to it, COVID. So it was just like, kind of sucked. But again, like I said, this is for personal family things. This isn't client based, so I'm not really upset by it. And this problem right here, and some of the other problems I had, like with color grading stuff, could be solved if Apple just used Apple's pen support on this, because you could just draw the line from the audio ducking where you want it to start and how high you want it to go. Same thing with color grading. You can just like select the line you want and then just edit. You could do it on the iPad. I just wish you could do it on there. Android does it with their Note series, and I think with their S lineup, so it's just like, why the hell can't Apple? It's a Pro. It's supposed to have Pro features, but this Pro feature is missing on, it's just, that's a different tangent. And this was another weird quirk. I don't know if there's a wraparound or a way to get to it, or if I just missed it, but yesterday when I edited the video with me taking Sydney's portraits for school, they didn't actually export, and then I wasn't able to import them into Adobe Rush from a Lightroom. I do all of my editing on Lightroom, so I've done it before where it's like in Lightroom, and then you can open it in Photoshop without losing any detail or lossless quality and stuff like that. It's amazing. But for whatever reason, couldn't upload it from Lightroom to Rush. I had to export it. They were RAW files, so I mean, they are larger. I exported the RAW files, and then I tried to import them into Rush. It didn't work, which again, is just like, why can't you do it? I know you could do it on Premiere, you could do it on Final Cut, you could do it on iMovie, but for whatever reason, it was just either the files are too big or it was just an unreadable file. But at the same time, it's like, you think they would have figured that out? Even when I exported the videos, or even when I exported the photos in actual JPEG format, I had to really downscale. I think it was like 200 kilobytes or whatever that would equate, like 0.2 megapixels from the actual photos to actually import them to edit. And it was just, it's strange just because I didn't think that would be a problem in today's age. It was a Fuji, and Fuji sometimes has a weird codec where it's like exporting RAW files to JPEG and that kind of stuff. Maybe it's something on Fuji's end. I don't know. It was just weird, very difficult, and kind of frustrating. I spent longer than I should have trying to edit that video. Some of the things I wish that they would add in future updates: an adjustment layer. When I'm color correcting, I talked about it in another video, it's just, I color correct at the very end because I throw an adjustment layer up top, and then I throw my LUT or just color correct on the adjustment layer, and then just adjust it throughout depending on the scene, what I'm going for. And they don't have that feature. There is a way you can just like edit all of it at once and then cut it, but that's just not the way I do it. It's just weird, and I don't want to learn to do it that way. It's just, I like my way, and I want my way to do it. And if they could just add an adjustment layer, it'd be great. Along with that, if they can add a sensor bar, like a special effects tool tab thing, where it's just, since people are content creating very, like everyone's doing it now, it's just sometimes people do things where they don't want something to be shown, whether it's like a street sign, a house number or license, or just other people, things in the background. You want to be able to censor it. I couldn't censor it. One of my videos, I had to censor it by opening it in Final Cut and then censoring it and then exporting. I know that there's an Adobe Rush app on the desktop, but I don't know if that costs extra money. And it was just like, I just need to export it. And I did talk about it in that video where it's like, this was exported in Final Cut because I needed to blur it. But other than that, it was just like, they just need a censoring tool. I feel like a lot of things now need a censoring tool just as that. Even if they had like other special effects things too, there's other apps where you can pay like $1 or $2 where it just does like a superimposed green screen and asteroids can fall on you, robots can shoot, stuff like that. They just need little things like that to just inch them forward, you know? It's just, you're a great app, just jump a little bit, be a perfect app. One of the great things I noticed about this, and I found it a few days later, probably longer than I should have when I was trying to figure out stuff, but they have music on their app. So Adobe has this whole thing with catalog of music that they add to it. I don't know how often they do, but it's still trendy music. I get all my music from Epidemic Sound, so it's just all the music you heard throughout this whole series was from Epidemic Sound. It is a third-party thing that I pay for. It's not sponsored, but it's just, I love their music. I've been subscribed to them for about 3-4-ish years like that. I use their videos on, or I use their music on like all of the projects I do. It's just cheap, great, and I haven't had any copyright strikes. I don't think you'd have a copyright strike with this one from Adobe, but it's a great feature to have, especially if you're starting out with this thing and you don't have enough money to be spending on a third-party music source for it, just like getting extra music like Epidemic Sound. Along with that, this was only $5 a month or $35 a year. Again, this is super awesome to have, and if you are starting content creation like this, whether it's for YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, it's a great tool to have, especially because there's an option where you can export your videos in different formats, where it's like 9:16, 16:9. If you want up like 1:1 or whatever, like the little tiny one is, it's just, there's different versions of how you can create your video and export your video, but you do have an option to upload it to said accounts where it's just easy. You just sign in through your you sign in through Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever on the Adobe app. You export the video and then you can actually export it there instead of exporting it to your phone and then exporting it there. So it's a nice little shortcut. It's a great little thing that they thought about, and it's well worth. I'm not upset about spending $5 on this. I think I've talked about this in previous videos. I really don't like giving too much money to the Adobe overlords. I feel like they charge a little too much money for what it is, and it kind of feels like a monopoly to me. I pay 20 bucks for Lightroom and Photoshop, but I couldn't figure out how to upload music from Epidemic Sound to Adobe Rush. I didn't think you could at first, which really kind of ticked me off until I found like the music thing. But I watched this YouTube video. I downloaded the Adobe Creative app on the iTunes store or the Apple store. And if you download the music from the internet, you have an option to import it through the Adobe Suite app and then just have it in its own little file titled music, photos, whatever it is you're adding to it. And then from the Adobe Rush, I imported the music from Epidemic Sound through the Adobe Cloud thing. So it's just like, again, this Adobe Rush suite or this Adobe suite is just amazing. I kind of like it more than this whole Apple iCloud suite thing that they have going on, just because as simple as the Apple one is, it's still kind of frustrating because sometimes it just doesn't work. And this Adobe thing, the reason why it didn't work was because of user error. I had to actually read to try to find things and stuff like that, where Apple's, it's like, it's so simple, it just causes problems. And that's just pretty much what it does for the most part. So I really love the Adobe suite. This whole thing being done, I do want to try the Adobe Premiere thing. So I might do another 30-day series where I'm doing Adobe Premiere Pro and then comparing that one to the actual Final Cut. I don't know if I said already, I'm happy I did this project. It was really fun to like just have this whole documentation of things like that. I did talk about in one of the episodes, the only bad part about doing this whole daily content thing is just some days are a little bit slower than others, especially because of COVID. There's lots of lockdowns in place, or what's supposed to be locked down. So we can't really go to places we normally used to go to do videos, and kind of a bummer, but not really, you know. I mean, it's a good way to flex your creative mind by trying to think of things to do inside or around the house and that nature. When I edit my videos on Final Cut, it takes me about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on if I'm actually doing color grading and just other things in that nature. But with the Adobe Rush, it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to actually upload, edit, and then export. But that's without color grading, just because I told you before, I don't really like the color grading options on this. When I found out that you could just color grade through the Apple app, or through the Apple just photos, I prefer doing it that way. I still don't really do it that way, just because it's like, it's just difficult. I just want my adjustment layers. I want to be able to add LUTs and stuff like that. It's just easier for me. That's the way I do it. But again, it's very comparable about how fast I actually import, export between both of them. So it's just side by side. I can probably do the same type of content with both relatively easy. And it's just, again, Final Cut does get the mark on this one just because it's a $300 editing software, and then this one's like, it's a $35 a year. So it's just, you can't compare apples to oranges, but it's really impressive how far editing on an actual phone has become instead of having a dedicated laptop or desktop. But a couple more things before I go. This is incredibly difficult doing the 30-day thing. Well, actually mine was 28 days, but just in general, like people that upload on a daily basis as their source of income, stuff like that. There are people that I see on YouTube that it's like a husband and wife that tag team and do this, or spouse and spouse, whatever you want to call it, that tag team it. So it's like husband shoots, wife edits, or vice versa, or it's like they both shoot and then they both edit, and then one's done, the other one takes the reins and kind of just like finishes off. That right there makes sense. It's really, I mean, it would be a lot easier doing it that way, or also they're to the point now where they're high up enough where they can just hire a video editor and they just oversee the project and they're like, what you want to change and stuff like that. But it's just, I have no idea how I did this for a 365. I'm not tooting like my own horn or patting myself on the back. It was just like, it was incredibly difficult learning how to do this with that. So it's just, it's a weird way to like, I have no idea how I did this. Also, it's just like, I only had one child. I don't think I did the 365 with Amelia. I think the 365 was just with Sydney, or maybe it was with Amelia, but Amelia was like really little. So it's not like I need to feed 2 children and like do all this other stuff. But still, it's just like, again, hats off to people that can do this daily. You guys kick ass, and it's just, it kicked my ass. All my videos were uploaded like a day or two after, and they were edited the same day. It was just like actually uploading it, that was a different story. I did cover that in a video, or like a previous video. But lastly, the biggest thing that was a challenge to me was Jessica told me at the very beginning she didn't really want to be a part of this project. I respect her wishes, so I didn't want her to be in it if she really didn't want to, if she felt uncomfortable or whatever her reasoning is. It's just, I do a lot of things with her. I do wish that she did do it, but again, like I said, this is respect her wishes. This isn't a dig at her. I mean, there's things she does that I don't want to be a part of, and I just straight up tell her I don't want to do this. So it's just, I don't want to do things without her. I like being around her, doing stuff with her. So it's just, it's just kind of sucky. But at the same time, it's like, okay, the way to combat this, I'll just do the videos during the day with the girls, and then I can edit when Jessica comes home. That way she's not in it. Or when I do a video with her in it, it's only for like a blip kind of thing. So it's just, maybe next time she'll do it with me. I know when we do a 365, she will be doing that with me, just because of the project we have in mind with the 365 is going to incorporate her more so than me. But it is what it is, and I'm happy I did this. I'm happy you guys watched it, so I do appreciate everyone watched it. So thank you. I still want to do videos. I know I go through these ruts where I'm like, I'm going to do videos, blah, 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 and then I never do it. And then 6 months later, I'd upload a video. It's just like, this whole COVID thing, just like, it's depressing for everybody. And that's just, I lost my editing creativity while this is going on. So I'm going to continue doing stuff here. I am trying to like do daily video things on Instagram, even though I'm not uploading photos, but it's just like I try to be regular on Instagram. So shoot me a message, leave me a message here. I will contact, or I will write back to you. I'm a stay-at-home parent right now, so I have literally nothing but time. So again, thanks for watching. Kind of a long video, and I will talk to you next time. You would think of this many times, I don't know how to say. But with that, I will talk to you next time. Bye,